television was on right there beside me. I just can't imagine the atmosphere. It was so dry for sharing something so precious. So instead of reading it, I just held there and said, I wrote these down, I'll leave them with you. And I paraphrased. This is how important he is to me. And I said, these are the reasons. I gave him those 3 reasons in my own words. And then I said, Al, have you ever desired that kind of a relationship? Have you ever wanted to know Jesus like that? And he said, Charles, that's great. And we sat out on the couch and talked, and among the things that we said, he said, I read that book, In the Boundary Waters, and I heard some Christians singing a song, The Boundary Waters. And I said, it might be kind of nice to have faith like that. And I said,
alright, bye-bye, Mr. Don. Keep your people happy.
What do we cost, lifestyle, or is it intellectual problems? And he said, yeah, the latter. And I said, well, one of these books, C.S. Lewis, was a tremendous help to me when I was a freshman in college, overcoming lots of those hindrances. And I'd love to talk with you about that book and about those problems. And he said, yeah, that would be great. Could we talk again? Sure. Thank you for my concern. Now, that's where the story stands today. And I pray for him every day. Now, that's the first time I ever did that in my life. Go to a neighbor. I've talked to other people about the Lord. A neighbor, the hardest people to witness to. And go into his house and say, I love Jesus. It's so important to believe in Jesus. Can I tell you why it's important? And I did it. And I would do some things very differently. Retrospect is always better. You'll learn by experience. Now, here's the lessons for us from that story. Number 1, God is patient. Don't give up on God. He's patient. 18 months of guilt feelings, he did not abandon me. 2, if you continue in prayer, this is all you've got to do, I promise. If you will not quit praying, the Lord will do the rest. That's all. He'll get you one way or the other. All you need to do is pray. What we do is we feel so guilty every time the name comes to mind, we put it out. We blank it out. But if you don't blank it out and you keep praying, he'll do the rest. He'll make the way. And third, if you do what I did, take a piece of paper and write out how much is Jesus worth, and put that in your own words. And then say why. And write why. There's your testimony. And it's yours. It's authentic. It doesn't have to come from any book. And you'll have a testimony, and you'll have the prayer support, and our church will be on.
Yeah, hustles. And I say, no, I'm trying to tell them, no, that's a recipe for disaster, because you're not going to develop enough skill in one of them. And what is the common thread of all these things? I keep trying to come back to it, and I can't really find that common thread. The other thing that happens a lot is they're in such a hurry to make a lot of money. And it's kind of, I don't know if it has to do with Andrew Tate, but it's kind of that cultural thing that making a lot of money shows that you're masculine, because now you've got that fancy car that you can impress women with, and you've got the clothes, etc. But that's going to lead you down the wrong path. So it's not money that matters. It's not making a lot of money. It's developing yourself. It's developing your skill and gaining a lot of knowledge and being patient. Just be patient. That's another trait that I think it could be one of these. The part of the problem here is that when you say that they're masculine, you're saying that women aren't that way. And that's a real false form of reasoning about what I'm saying. I'm not implying that women are impatient or that women don't have self-control. We're just talking about qualities that I think are masculine virtues. But being patient, being willing to take your 20s and not make $1 million, but actually develop yourself and develop skills and develop your character and develop, discipline is much more important than 6 or 7 figures. So a lot of it for me in dealing with young men is calming them down, making them patient, and making them grounded in certain values that have kind of been lost in the 21st century. Values of doing things a bit slowly, values of taking your time, values about being considerate of other people and not pushing them around, being empathetic, things that are kind of lost. So I do mentor young men, and I recognize very deeply the problems that they're dealing with, and I probably would have shared these problems if I'd been growing up now.
You've been very generous with your time, so I'm going to wrap up here with just a quick lightning round.
Oh dear, I hate these.
There you go. Sorry, boss.
It's all right.
Best piece of advice you've received?
Well, best piece of advice was I was in a, in the 90s. I was in a very depressed part of my life, and I was trying to have it both ways. I was trying to have my cake and eat it too. I was trying to be creative and in the movie business, and I was trying to make a lot of money. And my girlfriend at the time, who I'm still with, she said, Robert, you have to choose. You can't have both. You have to choose doing what you love and being creative, and then maybe money will come, or you have to give that all up and just make money. But I was trying to have it both ways. She was right, and I erred on the side of doing what I love and being creative, which was writing the book that I wrote, and then all the money came in. So that was the best advice I was given.
Last piece of media you streamed or read that kind of moved you or resonated?
Wow, I've been reading a lot of articles about kind of what's happening in the world right now. Things in the Atlantic Monthly, which I subscribe to, which has a lot of very interesting, not all of them, has very interesting, thoughtful articles. And I was reading one by, I forget her name, Anne Applebaum, maybe it is. She writes some very brilliant stuff, and she's